Wow, well, a very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. Remember, this is Kenya's most comprehensive political and public governance analysis show. Of course, I'm always glad to have you on board, and thank you so much for being part of this family. As we promise, we'll always keep you updated with comprehensive analysis of all that is taking place within this country and across our borders. My good name is Evan Sokenyi. Welcome to the show. Well, I'm joined by Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. Yes.
We are here this fine morning looking at how things are taking place in the country. And of course, the weather is not actually promising us. Things are really bad. And I think that the city has a little bit been hit. Could this be worse than El Nino? Or is it that maybe our meteorological department got it wrong way back then?
The less you say about this issue, the better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here we are, but we hope that there are adequate
one
measures.
wonders the sort of things people go through in other countries, if they were to happen here,
Okay.
where will we be? Just no more rain and people are dying and everything is, forget about it.
Okay. As bad as the weather is, we are here and we want to understand actually what is taking place here. Of course, I watched your video with Jedel Kapiro discussing what has actually been taking place in the country, what has been the talk of town with regards to Raila and of course Uhuru Kenyatta's absence at the burial of the former Chief of Defense Forces, General Ogola therein. I don't want us to go into that direction, but then of course several jitters that are being heard from elsewhere. The Azimio camp are still not yet settled, and one, they are calling for serious investigations into what actually took place that led to the death of the general therein. And something that is also coming up is that they've rejected the military group that was formed by the president and mandated to look into these investigations. They're calling for a parliamentary group as well to be formed therein. Others are calling for independent investigators to be brought on board here. And some quarters are also saying that it's also dangerous to politic with such kind of high-profile deaths herein. So what do you make of the kind of reaction from Azimio and their current demands?
Just typical reaction. Yeah. People could be feeling there's a lot that needs to be explained. But the politicians are politicians. They're also perhaps looking for political capital.
Okay.
Remember, people want to succeed Raila, and therefore this could be fodder for them. Yeah.
Now, that actually brings me to my next question. In as much as that could be fodder for them, are they actually justified in doing this?
It's not a question of being justified or not. It's just normal reactions. When a high-profile individual dies, there's never anything like natural death or normal death or accidental death, accident death. People just have to come up with all manner of theories.
What do you think would make them?
True or not, but that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think would make them dismiss the already group that was formed, the military group that was formed by the president?
There are so many questions that have been raised about this death. So many. And they have not been answered. So that's part of it.
But isn't the military
But I'm saying it's normal.
Isn't the military equipped enough to do thorough investigations and bring to
Those
light
who may not have confidence that the military can do it will be basing their thinking on the fact that if it was done by the same military. So how then do you trust the same people who did it? Anybody who believes this guy was fixed, was assassinated, they will equally believe it was done by people from within the military. Okay. So naturally they will not trust that the same military will do justice to the inquiry. Yeah.
The general, of course, has been laid to rest, and we thought that this issue could actually be left that way, to rest. But then here we are. These questions are still lingering here. But now, what is the danger of politicking with such kind of?
The danger is always that you could fan emotions, tribal things. You could lead to situations of anarchy, unrest, violence. But the beauty is that time heals. Nothing heals more than time. A day goes, another day after the death of Ogola, we go to the burial, and that emotions begin to cool. So that's the beauty. That's the reconciliation we have. But if such a things were engaged in the initial days, it could be dangerous.
But now, what would the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya side actually gain from mixing politics with what has actually taken place?
It is just politics, I've told you. It can be genuine concern, like many people have genuine concern, but it can also just be to get political capital out of it. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a constituency you are appealing to. There are people who are hurt with this death. You get it? There are people who are hurt with this death, and you can appeal to them. What you say resonates with them, and you know, this is politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the kind of direction that that actually.
There are also those who feel that it is possible the Luos could be drifting towards Ruto politically, and you could use this to stem that kind of tide. Yes.
So we could actually push this now. Let's look at, because of course the president has of course made several efforts to establish his roots in the Luo land. Right now, look at the kind of people who are actually pushing his agenda down there. But here is a situation whereby right now he's actually working with the president, or of course the former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga. We've not seen some sort of aggression between them in the recent past. But here we are. So if at all that is the case, then who then would actually be pushing this agenda that you're talking about?
That would be Azimio minus Raila.
So Azimio minus Raila.
There is a Raila minus. There is an Azimio minus Raila. When you remove Raila from Azimio, what remains? Or a big chunk of what remains, or some chunk of what remains.
So who is this in particular? Because of
it can't be an individual.
Raila's not actually.
When you remove Raila, you leave the Kalonzos there. Yeah. And they are there, Kalonzo, everybody else, anybody else. They can. This is just driving a political narrative is a game of politicians. Yeah. And they drive narratives out of everything and anything. So I'm not saying that's what they are doing. I'm saying that is possibly one explanation. There could be others. I've even said they could be genuine. Yeah. Or even, I can even go further and say they could know something we don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Let's talk about this being genuine part of it. And of course, I've had several people talk about the kind of pain that perhaps the community feels. Just walk me down the memory lane and perhaps explain, if at all these people are genuine and the community is genuine, then what actually would actually be causing all these kind of feelings and jitters and all these, like, I don't just understand what is actually leading to this.
I don't understand your question, but perhaps I don't know what you mean. Maybe ask you to explain.
My question is this. Yes. You've talked of the kind of memories that the community has that could be actually be propelling certain leaders to think the way they're thinking and demand for answers. If at all they're genuine, then what do you think? Do you think that the past cases would actually be prompting them to behave this manner?
Once bitten, twice shy, mwana nyoka ushtuka akiona gomba lake. The Luo has had their share of this. They have gone through persecutions. They have, in some, had gone through betrayal. They have been wronged against by successive regimes in this country. And therefore, you could say they are more sensitive than the rest of us. And therefore, any death, even if such a death be natural or accidental, they will likely have to, they may naturally react in a certain way. Yeah.
Looking at the past...
See, because you begin with the way Jomo Kenyatta treated Jaramogi, which for all intents and purposes is like killing somebody. In a manner of that, if you get somebody that close to you and you detain them, you curtail their political ambition. You take them through very humiliating experiences. Like somebody is saying they want to have 3 deputy party leaders in UDA. Look at what you are going to be dragging Rigathi Gachagua through. Maybe he becomes one of the 3, and where Rigathi Gachagua may be sharing that same status with some nobody from somewhere. You see what I mean?
Yes, I get you.
Jaramogi Oginga went through that. Then there was Agwin Sokek, or Agwin Skodek. Very tough. One of the first lawyers, I think, in this country. A shrewd Luo boy. Very politically swept. Then there was, of course, the famous tomboy. Then there was their Ben, Dr. Robert Ouko. And the many other things that have happened to the Luos, and the many caskets that have left Nairobi to be buried in Luo Nyanza after demonstrations in Nairobi, after every election. So these things have left a wound on the Luo nation. So whereas the rest of the country may have normal skin, the Luo skin is one big wound. So something like the death of Kola could very easily be touching that wound. So they will be more sensitive. They could be more sensitive.
But somebody will also ask, what were the reasons, okay, behind the so-called assassinations back then, as you compare them to perhaps what could be happening right now? Somebody would say the script is totally different. I mean, what could somebody be gaining by doing so, if at all it was an assassination, as some quarters perhaps allege?
So assassinations are difficult things. Let me tell you this. I have not heard of an assassination that has been resolved or solved, if you wish. You can go that low. They are not easy. You can get the person who pulled the trigger, but the man behind the trigger is very difficult. They are these political assassinations. They are very difficult because it's not always always the person suspected, most suspected, who is responsible. Look, Robert Ouko died, and everybody thinks it's Moi. The question is, what would Moi benefit by killing Ouko? What would Ruto, for example, benefit by killing Ogola? And he knows all eyes will be on him. Now, so because evil people would know if they did that, eyes will be on Ruto, eyes will be on Moi, eyes will, so even JM Karaoke, the possibility that Kenyatta was involved in his death are very remote. So even Boya, Pinto. So assassinations are always very complex matters. And that's why they're always very difficult to resolve. And that's why even if somebody said they were forming an inquiry or inquiry, I won't even bother about it. It will come with nothing. Who has told us who killed Ouko or Mboya for that matter? Or anybody for that matter?
That has not been raveled up to date.
Or Kennedy for that matter. Who killed Kennedy? Olive Palmer, Sweden. Who killed him? Forget about the person who does Takagiak. That's just a boy you give some little money to. It's difficult to resolve a political assassination. And therefore, if you classify all these high-profile deaths as assassinations, you can easily conclude that they are not easy to resolve. No.
Okay.
So they are better less. Let people rest if they have died. That will be my thinking. Let somebody rest if they have died. Let the family mourn the person in peace. Let them come to terms with the death of their loved ones. And let's pray for them.
Okay.
That's always my thinking. Because even if you start, it will not get you anywhere. It cannot be resolved in parliament. It cannot be resolved in the courts. These sort of things are resolved in an ugly way in the streets. And that's not the direction we want to take as a country.
Okay. Yeah. Finally, there is this Bomas Ghost that is actually coming out to play and haunting a number of people here. I saw the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Defense, Aden Duale, bringing it on board and trying to absolve the fallen general of any particular blame in that particular event. Do you think that in any way the Bomas Ghost would be responsible for the kind of jitters that we are also witnessing around?
So a lot of these things don't make sense. A lot doesn't add up. Up to and including the Bomas time, the President of the Republic of Kenya was Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. who was also the CIC, the commander-in-chief. If he wanted to overturn Ruto's victory, would that approach be the best? He will go and beg Kiwitu, please change this result. It doesn't add up. But again, since I was not there, it is possible they have done that. But the military as I know it, and I have a little knowledge and understanding when it comes to military matters. I've not been one, but I can see the training of people like Ogola and the rest of these people, up to the point you become a 2-star, 3-star general like Ogola was then. You are unlikely to engage in such a kindergarten games. And therefore, I'm tempted to believe what Duale is saying. Not that I do not believe what the president is saying. He was equally briefed. She was the most affected party. Therefore, maybe he knows more than the rest of the people, including his defense minister. I'm tempted to believe what I saw somebody writing. Was it Ogola or somebody like it? Oh, anaitwanga nini? Gabriel Oguda. That, is it him who wrote or something, that there's a text Ogola sent, the letter Ogola sent, and say, we came here and matters security, but what I'm seeing now
It's political.
is politics. From Ogola to Kibochi, the CDF then. I would rather believe that, because the military, the way I know it, the military is so professional. The military is so professional. Ogola was a deputy to Kibochi. Kibochi was a Uhuru appointee. It would be very easy for the military to have taken over instead of engaging in such a childish things of going to Bomas to beg Kibuiti. They can just take over the government. What is so difficult for them doing that?
Okay.
What's so difficult with Uhuru, with all high profile government officials, the Security Council, all the intelligence? What is wrong with him just playing games and stealing the election? I mean, I don't see the begging part of it. I'm not convinced that the Security Council, with Ogola being part of them, could go there to beg. Actually, because the way it comes out, they went to ask him, to beg him. These are people with the instruments of power. How can they go and beg a civilian like Kiwitu? Was it Kiwitu? No, what was his name? Oh, I keep confusing them. What was his name?
You're talking of Kiwitu was...
They let him rest well.
They let Kiwitu. Of course, they were talking about Wafula Chebukati.
Chebukati. I don't see it possible, because they have the instruments of power. Okay. There should be a better way. But it is possible they did that. It is possible, like they are saying, they went there to try to overturn. It's quite possible. Because I was not there, I'm only using logic and my knowledge of the military, and I'm seeing the military cannot go that low to go and beg Chebukati overturn, to send Ogola to go and... It will be Ogola doing it as a person, and I didn't know him. But what comes, the Ogola that I have seen since he died, that kind of person doesn't even have the demeanor for that. But the military as an institution, their training, their professionalism, who they are, they can't approach a matter like that in that manner. No.
So you're saying...
And if they had any evil design, they have the instruments of power.
Okay.
I've said it repeatedly. These are the guys who have the power. It's not the president, yet they have the power. They just simply succumb to civilian rule, as it should be, as it is in every country. Is that right?
Yeah.
They give the president the power, and he's a 5-star general civilian. You become a 5-star general, yet you have never gone to combat. You are not a soldier. That sort of respect and professionalism and the way of doing things and the way of the Constitution being lived. You live the Constitution, And that's how it is done in a civil society, civilized societies, civil arrangements, where the army have all the power, but a civilian is head of everything, and they respect that. I don't think the military With all that, and with all the power and the tradition behind them, they would want to go in that direction. That is cheapening the military. The military cannot be that cheap. To send people to go and beg Chebukati to overturn it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm finding it difficult to believe. You know I have a brain. Eh?
You're saying
you have a brain.
Yes, of course I do.
There are certain things your brain will refuse. I'm just saying my simple brain, I have a small brain perhaps. You know, sometimes your small brain can be a problem. So maybe my brain is small. It is refusing to see how the military, through Ogola, can go and beg a civilian like Chebukati. I'm finding it very difficult to believe. But you see, the person most affected is the president. Because it is his victory that was being stolen, if we believe him. So he will have more information than the rest of us. Okay? It is the president who started with Ogola. None of us started with Ogola. And I'm sure in the meeting, there must have just been the two of them. So we can believe what the president is saying. We have no reason to doubt.
But we do not have...
But the brain is refusing.
So the president says...
I'm believing because my president has said that Ogola even apologized.
But we did
say,
not...
forgive me, send me the court martial, or ask me to go away.
But we did not get the word from Ogola himself.
Because dead men
we can never get that.
Don't speak. So, as a civilian, as a citizen, as a law-abiding Kenyan, I'm bound to believe what the president says. But something inside me, that thing that makes me a thinking human being, tells me, is it really possible? But then I get solace in the knowledge that the president is a politician. Okay? So I say, now I can reconcile the two. That the president is saying this, and other people are saying this, and my intellect is telling me this. So it's very easy to reconcile. The moment I realize the president is a politician, I understand him. And I'm at peace with myself. But this is not a simple matter. Like I said from the beginning, assassinations are never easy anywhere in the world to understand, let alone resolve.
Do you believe him when he says that under his watch, no extrajudicial killings will take place?
Who?
The president.
Why would I doubt him? He said it and I have to believe him. I haven't seen any.
Okay.
Have you seen any?
I haven't seen any as well.
Have you heard of any?
I haven't heard any.
Why wouldn't you believe the
But
president?
aspersions are being cast here.
Which one?
And we
you see, General Ogola is dead. The family is mourning him. Kenyans are mourning him. Our community has lost a son. They are in pain. He died in an accident. When you are at that level, there are no natural death. There's nothing is an accident. This is normal. So let's leave it at that. That people will say things.
People would ask questions.
People will ask questions. But I want to tell you, there'll never be answers. Who killed Saitoti? Do we have the answers?
Not one up to date.
Was it an accident?
Of course it was.
Do we have answers whether it was not or it was?
We do not have answers as well.
It is not easy. And
So
I'm not
it's
talking about
tricky.
Kenya. I've told you about Sweden. I've told you about America. And I can go on and on and on. I can talk about Gandhi in India. The mother and the son. I mean, these things are never easy to resolve because the person most suspected, more often than not, is very far removed from it. Maybe close associates, thinking they are doing him a favor. You get it? Maybe wheeler dealers. Maybe deep state. The president also is not only the deep state.
Maybe an innocent and doesn't even know.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Did Kenyatta know who killed that Pinto was going to be killed? Even Boya. If you read keenly, the answer could most likely be no. So, Much as many people, through their speculation, may think the government is involved, then perhaps the government has nothing to do with it. Even if it's supposing it's even an assassination. You can say yes, it's an assassination because a lot of things don't make sense. But when it comes to who, that one, my friend, I can tell you it's difficult. I've never seen one that was easy. And I've lived in this world for a little long. I've been here for a while. And I've never seen one that you could say was easy. That this person was assassinated, the person who pulled the trigger this, the person who sent him this. Nation Isaac Njenga Njoroge killed who? Tom Mboya on Moi Avenue. Okay? He was sent by so and so. Tell me who sent Njenga. It's not easy. People just say Kenyatta. Because it is easy to say Kenyatta. But if you interrogate it, you'll find Kenyatta himself was even so terrified when that happened. There's no way he could have ordered the killing of, again, my thinking. How could Moi have ordered the killing of Ouko? He knew it would have the potential of bringing down his government. And if I ask you, what possible danger did Robert Ouko pose to Moi's rule? A man who went to beg Moi because he was being removed by somebody as an MP. So idia mimi bwana yake na jobo wino watanimaliza watanitoka. So a man like that, you want to tell me could remove Moi from power? Oh, he went to America.
Sorry.
American, so he was he looked more presidential than Moi. Nonsense. That can't have made him the president of Kenya. If Robert Ouko, God rest his soul in peace, he was a gentleman. He spoke my language perfectly. You know, he came from around my place. Perfectly. He was a good guy. If Robert Ouko stood for election in this country, everything remaining equal, could he even be number 5? Maybe number 14. So he posed no risk to Moi.
He was not a threat to Moi.
He's not a threat to Moi. So why would Moi kill him? If you look at things in that manner, then you begin to see the people who kill others in assassinations are either overzealous people, thinking they are protecting the kingdom, and even in all kingdoms, even if you look history about kings and kingdoms and all those empires, the people who do these ugly things sometimes are overzealous.
Okay. Sometimes
they're overprotective. A good number act out of ignorance. In instances such as I think the Tomboy, the J.M. Karaoke, the unintended happens. You intend maybe to threaten somebody, then it becomes ugly, and it becomes better, like we have been told, to finish them off. Point is, assassinations are not easy. And assassination simply means the death in unclear circumstances of a person of a certain standing in society.
Okay.
Yes.
It's not easy, as you may think. That is the word of Professor Herman Manyora here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of this team. And we promise to continue keeping you updated with comprehensive analysis of all that is going on around this country and across the globe. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans. Okay.